You know that moment you walk into a room, you flip a switch, and the light just flutters for a second? It's one of those things we see all the time and just ignore. But is it just a harmless little quirk, or is it a warning sign? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. This quote just nails it, right? That one little flicker you barely even notice could be the first chapter in a much bigger story that's unfolding behind your walls. It's so easy to just shrug it off, but something is really going on, and we're here to understand what. All right, so let's get into it. Before we jump to the scary stuff and the alarm bells, we've got to understand the basics. That little flicker is a symptom. It's a reaction to something that's messing with the smooth, steady flow of electricity that's supposed to be going to your light. Yeah, it's not just, the bulb having a bad day. A flicker is a signal that the power getting to it is shaky, it's unstable. And the real question, the one we need to answer is, why? So here's the core idea. Imagine your home's wiring is like a river of electricity, just flowing along. A flicker, that's just a ripple on the surface, a quick disturbance in the current. Now, our job is to figure out what caused that ripple. Was it just a little splash, something totally harmless? Or is it a sign of a crack in the dam? And that right there brings us to the most important part of this whole thing, learning how to tell the difference. Because not all flickers are created equal. Some of them are perfectly normal, while others are your house's way of asking for help. Okay, let's break this down into two big buckets. On one side, you've got the stuff that's less of a big deal. A loose bulb, that's always the first thing you should check, by the way. Or maybe your air conditioner kicks on and the lights dim for a second. That's a massive power draw, so it can be pretty normal. But then you have the other side, the more concerned side. We're talking about overloaded circuits, loose wires hiding in your walls, or maybe an electrical panel that's way past its prime. And here's the kicker. These problems don't just go away on their own. So how do you know which bucket your flicker falls into? Well, the good news is your house will usually give you some other clues. You just have to use your senses. You have to know what to look and listen for. First up, listen. I mean, really listen. A happy, healthy electrical system is a quiet one. If you hear any buzzing, any crackling coming from a switch or an outlet, that is not a good sound. That's the sound of electricity doing something it shouldn't, like jumping across a gap. It's called arcing, and it's seriously dangerous. All right, next sense. Smell. This one's a big one. If you get a whiff of burning plastic or that weird, sharp, kind of fishy smell near an outlet, that is a major red flag. What you're probably smelling is the plastic insulation on the wires literally melting from too much heat. And finally, touch. Now, a dimmer switch can get a little warm, that's kind of normal. But a regular light switch, an outlet, they should always feel cool. If you touch one and it's warm or worse, hot, that means there's a serious problem with heat building up inside your wall. And that is a fire just waiting to happen. Okay, so beyond your immediate senses, you've got to look at the bigger picture. Context is key here. Is it a one-and-done flicker, or is it happening every single day? Is it just one lamp, or is it the entire upstairs? And hey, if you're in an older house, you have to be extra careful, because those systems were never built for all the stuff we have plugged in now. So here's the rule of thumb. If the flicker is consistent, if it happens in more than one room, or if it comes with any of those sensory warnings, the sound, the smell, the heat, it's time to call a pro. Period. No exceptions. And here's something you absolutely have to remember. Electrical problems do not fix themselves. They don't get better on their own. They just get worse, usually very quietly, right there behind your walls. Until one day, they're not quiet anymore. So, how does a tiny little problem turn into a total disaster? Well, it's a chain reaction. It all starts with one single loose wire. That creates an electrical arc. Think of it like a tiny, continuous bolt of lightning. That arc generates an insane amount of heat. That heat then melts the protective plastic coating right off the wires, which leads to sparks. And sparks find things to burn. And look, even if you get lucky and it doesn't cause a fire, the damage can still be brutal. That unstable power, those surges and dips, they can absolutely fry the sensitive electronics in your expensive stuff, from your TV to your fridge. So what started as a simple, annoying flicker could end up costing you thousands in damaged property and big repairs. So you make the right call and get a professional to come out. What do they actually do? Well, it's not magic, and it's definitely not guesswork. It's a systematic investigation to hunt down the root cause of the problem.
A good electrician basically works like a detective. They trace the path of the electricity backward. They'll start right at the flickering light, then move to the switch on the wall, and finally, they'll go to the heart of the whole operation, your electrical panel. They're looking for that one single weak link in the chain where the power flow is getting interrupted.
And this is where their training really kicks in. They see things we would totally miss. A tiny bit of browning around an outlet, a faint hum that you've just gotten used to. To a professional, those are giant, flashing neon signs pointing to the problem. They see the evidence long before the system fails completely.
Really, if there's just one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this right here. A flickering light isn't just an annoyance, it's a message. It is the check engine light for your home. And just like in your car, you don't ignore it. It's telling you it's time to look under the hood before a small issue turns into a major breakdown. So what can you actually do to be proactive? Well, a few things. First, play detective. Pay attention to when and where it happens. Is it only when you run the microwave? Make a note of that. Second, don't overload your outlets. Seriously, that one power strip isn't designed to run your entire office. Third, check the simple stuff. Make sure your light bulbs are screwed in all the way. And finally, be realistic about your home's age. If your panel looks like it's from the 70s, it might be time for an inspection to see if it can safely handle today's world. These are simple steps, but they can make a huge difference. At the end of the day, flickering lights are just one of the ways our homes try to communicate with us. They send out these little signals, these early warnings, kind of hoping we'll notice. The only question is, are you paying attention?